right, we are live, and this is Talking Movies with Sean, Kenny, and Jim. I'm Sean,
I'm Kenny.
I'm Jim.
and tonight with us we have Mr. Dan from.
Hey, everybody.
And I forget the full name of your channel, Mr. Dan, so please forgive me.
Mr. Dan and horror.
Okay.
Although lately I've been doing a lot of martial arts and pretty much whatever I want to do. It's been fun. It might not be great for the algorithm, but I've been having a blast with it. So westerns, film noir, horror, martial arts, 70s and 80s films. That's the kind of stuff I'm into on my channel.
So Mr. Dan and stuff.
Yep.
That's cool. All right. So tonight we are doing Happy Birthday, Jack Nicholson. It's not really a tribute show because he's still with us, thankfully. Today is his 88th birthday. So we just thought we planned this way back. We don't usually plan way ahead, but we planned this pretty far in advance. I think we planned this in March.
Yeah.
To do this show so we could get some prep time. So we saw that April 22nd fell on a Tuesday and that it was his birthday. So we decided we would do a birthday show. So we all just started watching different movies. I think we may have all watched all different movies. I don't know that we did any repeats because I don't know what you watched, Kenny, and I don't know what you watched, Jim. I only know what you watched, Mr. Dan, because you posted it for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we may have hit a little of everything.
Yeah.
For a guy who's got 62 movies in his filmography over the course of what is his career ran from the late 50s to 2010. So
yeah.
Going to be a lot of stuff we didn't see, but hopefully we'll cover a lot of it among the four of us. So we'll just get right into it. We were talking just a bit before the show about, what Jack Nicholson means to each one of us. So we can probably kind of throw that out there as a starting point and kind of go from there. I don't want to do a movie by movie countdown like we did for Val Kilmer because we'll be here for 5.5 hours.
Yeah.
So we'll probably just start throwing stuff out there and see where the night takes us. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
All right.
The first time I ever saw Jack Nicholson was in 1978 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And it was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That came out, in 75. I was 8 years old at the time, so I was definitely too young to see it theatrically. But I don't remember if it was on video or cable. It was one of the two because I did see it uncut. And I was, again, maybe 10, 11 years old. But that movie broke my heart, okay? Mm-hmm. But it did two things. It made me a big fan of Brad Dourif, for one, okay? Because he's phenomenal, and nobody ever talks about him. It's always Louise Fletcher and Jack, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the movie that originally, like I said, saw Jack in and immediately made me a fan. And every movie I've seen since of him, I still compare him to that first performance, which he won an Oscar for, deservedly so. But we'll talk about The Shining later, I'm sure, okay? Because that's a pretty iconic thing, okay?
Right.
But I'll bring up the comparison to Cuckoo's Nest to The Shining when we get to that, okay? But yeah, like I said, that was such a powerful movie and such a powerful performance, and seeing it that young, it just had a profound effect on me, and it's still one of my favorite movies. So that was my introduction to Jack.
Okay. Anybody else want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. My first one, and I seen it on HBO, and the only reason why we watched it on HBO is my mom goes, "Oh, Ann Margaret's in that movie. She might be dancing," and it was Carnal Knowledge.
Oh no,
she was not dancing in Carnal Knowledge. And then because she was like looking at it. Remember those days you got the TV guide, and she goes, "Oh look, Art Garfunkel's in it, and Margaret." And she goes, "Oh, it's a musical, boys." And I'm like, we put it on, and she goes, "Boys, get up to the room." So that was my first introduction to Jack Nicholson as roommates with Art Garfunkel.
And the Yam fan was born.
But that was the first movie I ever seen. Thanks to my mom thinking it was a musical.
God bless her.
That's classic.
How old were you?
It was probably like 82, so I was like 12.
Oh yeah.
So it was because we were like flipping by, and that was like when you planned your whole day, like what was coming on HBO. Remember, HBO used to, send out those things, and she's like, "Oh, sounds like," and she was like so excited because she was like really into like musicals, like any Doris Day movie we watched on TV and stuff. And she was like really excited. She was like, "Oh, this might be a musical." No, she said it's like right in our bedrooms, instead
Dueling
of flipping the damn box, hitting the box, she's like, "Get to your room, boys," like yelling at us. Me and my brother's like, "What do we do?" I'm like, "I don't know."
That's funny.
Everything is coming so crystal clear now.
The Yam fan was born. That's right.
Yam fan was born.
How about you, Dan?
Well, I know for a fact I watched Cuckoo's Nest with my dad. It may have been when it was on regular TV and it cut, but still it was so heavy, and I might not have picked up everything when I was a kid. I remember the scenes with Will Sampson, the basketball game.
Yeah.
And then when he says, he says something like he asks him a question and he says, "Well, I never had anything to say." It's just, man, that those scenes were great. We actually did rent that, me and some of my friends. I mean, we appreciated Nicholson enough. We did rent that in high school, even though that was, like a 70s film. And at the end of it, we were just like, "Oh my God," like, whoa, rough. Yeah. So I knew of him. I knew he was in this movie called The Shining. Eventually I saw it, watched it by myself on cable. And when it was done, I remember flipping the dials. We'll talk about it more as The Shining when we get to it, but hoping something happy would be on, but it was too late because people don't realize that TV wasn't 24 hours back then. And that was a weird thing, going to bed. So I knew of him like as this sort of like serious actor, but then I also, like Kenny, we read the TV guide. So I don't know what I saw first. It may have been Little Shop of Horrors on TV or The Terror. The Terror was on all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, look, I love Castles. I love Boris Karloff. But that was, even as a kid, I was like, oh, my God, what is going on here? Like, not a lot happens in that movie.
No.
So I knew that there was more Nicholson films out there, and eventually, of course, I'm in high school. Batman's coming out. Things like that, and we're seeing some of the more Wolf. I eventually, I saw that in this theater. It for Jack, it depended on the subject matter, but I was always a big fan.
Cool. Yeah, I think the first movie I probably saw him in was probably, like you said, either The Terror or The Raven, because I used to be glued to the TV set on Saturday afternoons, Saturday mornings, watching horror films, and The Raven was always on, and The Terror was always on. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know who he was, and he wasn't full-blown Jack Nicholson then anyway. He was kind of reading his lines sort of stilted, not that they were great scripts or anything. But that's probably technically the first time I seen him. But the seeing with it, it's kind of funny. I think I watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with my dad as well on HBO. I don't remember too much about the film from the first time I watched it, other than the final scene. And that stuck with me through the years, just his face. I won't say anything because I don't want to spoil the movie, but if you haven't seen it by now,
it's a 50-year-old movie.
Right. But I don't want to be that guy. Because it's just a really great movie, and I don't want to be the one that spoils it for you.
Heartbreaking movie.
Right. But I think I had a conversation with my dad that, he's really a great actor. And that grin got me, his air of not caring or whatever, that stuck with me more than anything else. And then when The Shining came out, my dad was like, "Oh, it's Jack Nicholson. You got to go see that." But he wouldn't take me because it was rated R back then. And I was in like 6th grade. That line blurred a little later in the same year. So we went to see other things that were rated R. But for some reason, we wouldn't go see that. So I ended up seeing that on HBO too. So it was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and then The Shining, 1-2 punch. And then that was definitely stamped in as who he was, and then branched out from there. And I got to really appreciate his talent and his range. But Mr. Dan was talking maybe a week or two ago. You were watching Missouri Breaks on Tubi, and I said I remember seeing the trailer for that. It wasn't that one that I remember seeing the trailer for. It was Going South.
Yep.
Oh,
John
okay.
Belushi.
With John Belushi, because I knew John Belushi, because at that age I was staying up sort of illicitly. I would sneak down the stairs and crawl under the chair in the living room and watch Saturday Night Live hiding under a chair. So I knew who John Belushi was. So I really wanted to see Going South, but I never got a chance to see it. I still haven't seen it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing, like Nicholson, I mean, as far as Tubi and free streaming goes, I mean, there's not a whole lot.
No.
I had to go, I had to pay for the border, and I was going to try to even do a few more, but I just didn't get it, But if you go to Tubi and type in Jack Nicholson, there's 5 movies. Yeah. That's what I watch.
Yeah.
But I did pay for a couple more on YouTube, I think. But there's just not a lot. You got to have some kind of streaming service or collect physical media. I would, of course.
He did a lot of movies for Paramount and a lot of movies for Warner Brothers. So I guarantee Max and Paramount Plus probably have more of those.
There wasn't a whole lot. I was checking my streaming because I started really hardcore last week on it. Paramount Plus. You type in Jack Nicholson, you might get I think there was Anger Management, The Border, Crossing Guard. Max didn't have anything.
Wow.
Netflix, I was stunned.
Yeah, Netflix don't have Jack because that's
nothing. Everything's new.
No pun intended there.
No, everything's new on Netflix, and Hulu. I think you needed an add-on, for the Border. Yeah. But that was about it. But it's I was going through my list. When I punched in Jack Nicholson, I don't own that many Jack Nicholson movies, which is surprising with the movies I have. So but it's kind of weird that you can't even like Jim said, they're all in Paramount and Warner Brothers.
Yeah, I watched 4 movies for tonight, and one of them was on streaming, which was The Pledge, which I watched on Paramount Plus. The rest I got on physical media. I either had them or I picked them up on DVD for tonight. So,
are there any? I imagine some of his films, maybe Terms of Endearment, might be on a certain compilation with other films like that. Are there any really good Jack collections out on physical media?
That's a good question.
That's a great question. I don't know, and usually. When I go onto eBay, because I tried to look for some Jack Nicholson movies, and a lot of them seem to be out of print, except for The Border, Crossing Guard, As Good as It Gets, About Schmidt. That
newer titles.
About Schmidt was one that I did own and I did rewatch again, which was really good.
Yeah, I own the Terms of Endearment, and it is part of a compilation pack, but it's not Nicholson. It's a Best Picture winning of 10 Best Picture winners.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because that one's got Gladiator and Forrest Gump and American Beauty and stuff. But it's also got Wings, which was the very first Academy Award.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So that's interesting.
I found a DVD 3-pack of Something's Gotta Give, Anger Management, and The King of Marvin Gardens. There's an interesting pack.
I was going to say, that's an interesting combination.
The first two kind of go together. The third one, not as much.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're all Jack, so.
Yep. Yeah. That's the only compilation I've found so far. That's on Amazon for $11 on DVD.
Yeah, because I have the Best of Warner Brothers, the 20 film, for Best Pictures. And the only one on, this is 75 to 2006. It's Cuckoo's Nest, Chariots of Fire, Amadeus, Driving Miss Daisy, Unforgiven, Lord of the Rings, $1 Million Baby, and The Departed.
So two Jack movies.
Yeah, 2 Jack movies. But the one I was surprised about was Terms of Endearment, because that's
Paramount.
Oh, that's Paramount. That's why.
Yeah.
But,
That's why I knew he did a lot with Paramount and a lot with Warner's.
Funnily enough, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, funnily enough, the copy of The Terror that I watched is one of the Film Masters Blu-ray remasters that I just picked up, and it has Little Shop of Horrors on there with it. So it's a 2-pack, and it's $18, and it's remastered, so it doesn't look horrible as some of those public domain crapathons that you can pick up anywhere. So
yeah, I've probably got a couple.
like
I probably have The Terror a couple times over.
Right.
Compilations, you know.
I'm with you, Dan. I get those Mill Creek jammers, you know, that you put on there, and it's like all green.
Mill Creek. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, chat. I don't mean to ignore you. We've got Texas here and Stacy's here.
Hey, Stacy.
Stacy's asking about Blood and Wine. Has any of you seen that?
I have not seen that.
Nope, I have not either. Sorry, Stacy. Texas says that he saw Missouri Breaks or Cuckoo's Nest first. It was his first introduction to Jack Nicholson. Missouri Breaks. Was Brando in that?
Yeah.
Or not?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, we can get into it when we get there. But
sure.
Great cast. Great cast. One thing that movie has. It's a little odd, but it's got a great cast.
It's a weird movie. But it does have a great cast.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So like I mentioned, today is his birthday. He was born on April 22nd, 1937 in Neptune City, New Jersey. He moved to Hollywood in the 1950s. He originally worked as an office assistant at MGM. His first roles were in the low-budget B-movies produced by Roger Corman, like The Crybaby Killer from 1958. Anybody seen that one?
No.
Just that one.
Believe it or not, I have not seen that one. And then, of course, he had, we were talking about like The Raven and The Terror. I did watch The Terror last night for the first time as an adult. Have any of you seen it recently enough where you can talk about it?
I know the backstory of it. I know that it's a leftover movie. They had 3 days left over, and the use of the set. So Roger Corman, being Roger Corman, said, let's make whole nother movie.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I know. That's pretty much what I remember about it. Him and Karloff eating dinner together for 20 minutes is I don't really remember much of it.
I didn't like it as a kid, and that's the last time I saw it. So.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I would slog through some stuff too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
right.
I did.
If it remotely was art or sci-fi, but yeah.
Yeah, I was actually reading about it before I watched it again, and it was a lot longer than 3 days, I guess. They thought he would squeak it out in 3 days, and it actually turned out to be a lot longer. I guess 4 directors ended up working on it.
Wow.
And I don't know who they were. I know Francis Ford Coppola was one of them because he was actually a producer on it. I don't know who the other 2 were, but they only had Boris Karloff for 2 days. They had use of the Raven set for 3 days or something. And I think it was Samuel Z. Arkoff who said that he knew something was up when he went to the wrap party for the Raven, and they hadn't taken down the set for the Raven yet. So he knew something was up, but he ended up owning the movie anyway because they're the ones that ended up buying it. So he didn't get all that upset about it.
Yeah, Sean, here's the directors. Actually, there were 6.
6? Okay.
Yeah. Corman, Francis Ford Coppola for 4 days, Jack Hale for 1 day. And on the IMDb, it actually tells you Monty Hellman for 5 days,
Okay.
Jack Hill, Dennis Jacob for 1 day, and Jack Nicholson for 1 day.
Oh, Jack Nicholson actually directed for a day?
Yep. Final. It says 1 final day director uncredited. Jack
Wow.
He probably told himself to ride his horse down the beach. Put the camera down there. I'm going to ride my horse towards you.
Right.
And we're going to milk it.
That's probably true.
But Hellman, of course, Jack Hill and Monty Hellman, they would go on to make some decent movies.
Yeah.
Monty Hellman would make 2 of the westerns I'm going to talk about in a little bit here for Corman that had Jack. So
Cool.
Yeah, that Coppola guy turned out okay too.
yeah.
He did some
You know what?
Never happened to him.
I guess some of the people Corman worked with did pretty good. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
A couple of them. A couple. Yeah.
Yeah, that movie was hilariously bad. It looked every bit as pieced together as it was. Like, I all I know is like one of the days that they filmed, they literally just filmed Jack Nicholson and Boris Karloff opening doors and walking around. They didn't have any dialogue. They just were walking around and opening and closing doors, and that's what they filmed that day. And you see that in the film. They're just opening and closing doors, chasing after one another. So that's the whole movie pretty much. It's pretty bad.
Pretty bad. Even for Corman.
Even for Corman. But he wanted to produce, because he was coming off of all those Edgar Allan Poe movies. He wanted to make a movie that was an original movie in that style that wasn't an Edgar Allan Poe movie. But getting back to Nicholson, like I said earlier, Nicholson's in it. He acts in it, but he certainly doesn't have his trademarks down yet. But you can see glimmers of it. But the dialogue is so bad that it's just, you can't get a read on how good of an actor he's going to be because the dialogue is so atrocious. But you get to see his current wife at the time, Sandra Knight, who is stunning in this movie.
Yes. I did like her in that movie when I was a kid.
Oof. Yeah. I didn't realize that was his wife at the time. And while they were filming, they got together and worked on a kid. So, she was, I mean, the performance wasn't that great, but she was beautiful. But yeah, I'm glad I watched it just so I can say I saw it, but I'll probably never watch it again. I really want to watch Little Shop of Horrors though. So I'm glad I do have that set. So
well, that's a great one to watch as far as the career of Dick Miller goes. You know what I mean? If you're a Dick Miller fan.
Oh yeah.
That's a good one, So speaking of Roger Corman guys,
Yeah, Dick. I forgot to mention Dick Miller's fantastic in that, and totally initially unrecognizable. I saw his name in the credits, and then I saw him, and I'm like, "Holy crap, that's Dick Miller!" Because I did not recognize him at all. Because I've only recognized him for later, things like Gremlins and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's that guy. What was that documentary that they did about Dick Miller?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I need to see that. I think you mentioned that before. I really need to see that because I really like the guy. I think he's.
I saw the documentary, but I can't remember if it was. I think it was, "Hey, it's Dick." Or, "Hey, it's that guy," or something like that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. When I saw him, I'm like, wow, he looks like a British actor. The way they had his hair, and then he opens his mouth, and he's full on American. So, but yeah, he was probably the best actor in it, full blown. In the whole movie. So
Dick Miller was usually the best actor in every movie he was in.
Pretty
that guy was awesome.
Piranha. I mean,
oh yeah,
he's great.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't recommend The Terror, but I do for curio value. It's worth seeing, but definitely check it out if you can check it out on Amazon Prime, because I think they have the Film Masters print. Not the public domain print. Okay, then we move into you had said, did you want to talk about Little Shop of Horrors, Dan?
I mean, I can a little bit. I don't know. It's been a little while. I've seen it by itself, and I've seen I always do that. I've seen the Mystery Science Theater version, which is pretty hilarious because there's a lot to riff on in that movie. But it is, it's so weird. I mean, they're trying to make like an expose of Skid Row, right? But at the same time, they're telling a story about Audrey the plant and everything. And I don't know what kind of direction they gave Nicholson, but I mean, I think it's great.
It's the best scene in the movie.
Oh, it's the best. Yeah.
It's the best scene in the movie.
I think he might have realized what the heck kind of movie he was in and said, "All right, I'm just going to go in.
I'm going to go for it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big smile on my face. Give me a root canal,
because I think that's where you first saw that glimpse of who Jack was going to be for the next 20 years. That grin and that sparkle in the eye. You know, I mean, that's what always got me about not so much his early roles, but his middle roles, like in the 70s and 80s, always had that little mischievous look in his eye, you know, and that little tiny bit part in that movie, Dan, you know, it's without a doubt the most memorable part of that movie. And it's not because, you know, it's holy shit, it's Jack Nicholson. It's just that scene is great. He's on.
If he never did anything again after that, you would be like, whoever that guy was, that was a great scene.
Exactly. You know, I mean, everybody loves that scene in the remake, you know, the Moranis remake with Steve Martin and Bill Murray. And again, it's great. Okay. But to me, that scene and that remake, it's all about Bill Murray. Okay. Or, I mean, I'm sorry, Steve Martin. You know,
right.
Bill Murray's just, you know, yes, you know, like he's having an orgasm or something. Whereas Nicholson, on the other hand, he's got that creepy shit going, and that's what makes it so damn funny.
Right. That's cool. Yeah, I've got to watch that because I've seen clips and bits of it, but I've never seen the whole thing.
Yeah, like I'm not really a big fan of that movie, but I love that sequence. It's so funny.
Yeah. All right. So then he was in a lot of other stuff until 1969, Easy Rider.
Easy Rider.
Can I talk about the couple the westerns that I saw right before that?
Yeah, go right ahead. I'm glancing over everything, so please.
Yeah, well they were also Roger Corman produced films, and I mean, now that I think about it, I'm surprised that Corman. You know, there are a lot of Corman collections out there. I'm surprised there's never, you know, he hasn't had like a Corman, you know, the films of Jack Nicholson collection because he, you know, there's enough of them. There's 5 or 6 of them. It would have been different genres, westerns and hard, you know, but he could have done it. But anyway, he was in 2 movies, both directed by Monty Hellman, who would go on to direct Cockfighter, which I'm probably one of his best movies.
Cockfighter, I love that.
That's a great movie. And one of these movies has Warren Oates. They filmed them back to back, same location, a lot of the same actors. Minnie, now I'm not going to remember her name. Minnie Perkins, I think, is her name, is in both films. Nicholson comes in the one about 45 minutes in, and they're both about an hour and 20 minutes. And one of them also has Harry Dean Stanton, who, of course, would be in Missouri Breaks. But both kind of cool to look at, pretty good scenery, pretty well made. They don't really go anywhere, but they also don't really work as like a slice of life either. In the one of them, you've got this Millie Perkins hires Warren Oates and another guy to guide her across the desert, and they kind of feel like they're being followed, and then Jack Nicholson turns up 45 minutes in. And he's kind of sinister, you know, he kind of underplays it. And then all of a sudden, some things happen. And then all of a sudden, we're to believe that now they're exhausted and the horses are keeling over. They look exactly the same as they did like the previous scene. You know, it's not like in The Good and Bad and the Ugly when Clint Eastwood looks like, you know, the skin is coming off of his face.
Right.
And then it just ends very abruptly and very unsatisfying. Almost like I was like, what just happened? But I don't care enough to go back and double check. So then the next one, Ride the Whirlwind, it's basically Nicholson and Cameron Mitchell for most of the movie, with Harry Dean Stanton in the beginning. They unfortunately make camp next to a couple guys who have just robbed a train. One of them's played by Harry Dean Stanton, who's, you know, he's really good. And then a posse comes after the train robbers, and they just conflate them all together, and they end up chasing Jack Nicholson and Cameron Mitchell, and they stop at this farm with Minnie Perkins again, Millie Perkins, and her family. And it's kind of like, not really like a home invasion thing, but they kind of, when the posse comes around, they have to like hide and try to get the family to act normal. And the one guy comes back and there's a confrontation. It was a much better film than the other one, but still, it was almost like more of like a slice of life. Nothing. There's no real big events, you know. I mean, what Nicholson was very good in both of them, very like sort of understated, you know. And I think you saw little glimpses of what he was capable of. Very authoritative, you know. I was thinking about Steve McQueen the other day. I don't know why. with like the Blob and even Magnificent Seven. He's great in the movie, but reading about the backstory when he was like moving around and being fidgety every time the camera wasn't on him because he was jealous and he was like kind of insecure. Like Nicholson comes across as the opposite of that. He's very confident and very secure in these movies, and you could just tell like he was one to watch. And even when he was like the gunfighter, he never like yelled at anyone, never screamed or anything like that. It was just like very kind of authoritative, and you really got some glimpses of what he was capable of. And then the other one I watched real quick, Hell's Angel on Wheels, made with the cooperation of the Hell's Angels.
Yes.
And, it's still very much a sanitized version of those kind of things. He's a regular guy who kind of falls in with these Hell's Angels, and one of them's played by Adam Rourke, who's in a lot of those movies. And then he realizes these guys are involved in some heavy stuff, and now he's caught up in it. And there's some motorcycle chases and fist fights, and I frankly don't really remember what happens at the end. But he's good. Once again, he's good. He's like, oh, what have I gotten myself into? They say he gets into a fight with some Navy guys at a carnival, and they save him. And then he's like goes out drinking with them, and now all of a sudden he's like, not really one of them, like patched in or anything, but he's associated with them and their consequences. It was a pretty decent role for what it was.
That first one that you were talking about, was that Backdoor to Hell?
No, The Shooting, and then Ride in the Whirlwind.
Okay, The Shooting.
So The Shooting was the one with Warren Oates, and Ride in the Whirlwind was the one with Cameron Mitchell.
Okay.
And he wrote that one too.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I kind of glanced over him because I did not know anything about him. So thanks for filling in the blanks there. He was also, before Easy Rider, he was in Head with the Monkees, where he played the movie director, which for some strange reason I remember him being in, even though it was just a cameo role. I don't remember much else about that movie other than it was super whacked out, and I was a little kid watching it, and I don't remember why I remember anything from it.
Yeah, Texas would know that movie really well.
I'm sure he would. Texas, please chime in if you remember Head. But yeah, Easy Rider. I think, Dan, you said you did watch that for this, did you not?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's one that I'd seen years ago.
Okay.
On probably on cable, but did not get to rewatch it for tonight.
I have not seen that in decades and wouldn't even be able to speak to it at all. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen it in at least 20 years, maybe even 30 years.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time being underwhelmed by it, but I think it was because it was one of those movies that it was a perfect time, a perfect moment in time movie, like it encapsulated that moment, and that moment was before my time.
Right.
So it didn't really hit me the way that it possibly should have. But I do remember the three of them were really good in it together.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember thinking the whole time, there's no story to this movie.
Yeah.
Now as an adult, if I watched it, I'd probably look at it a different way. But as a kid, I didn't care for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Pretty shocking ending, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, you don't remember that? Okay. Well,
I don't either. I'm like sitting here and shocking ending. I'm like, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember watching it with my my uncle, and it was on regular TV. So I don't even know how much of the movie I actually missed from, being censored or whatever. So I don't even know if I actually really could say I saw it. I saw it on TV. Alrighty, so then we move into the 70s, and Five Easy Pieces was probably the next one. I really wanted to watch that for this. I didn't get a chance to.
Great movie.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. I watched the trailer, and Kenny sent me a scene from it that I've seen like 400 times
Chicken
from the
salad.
restaurant. Yep. But I have not had a chance to see it, so I'll let you guys talk about it.
Yeah, I literally haven't seen that in 30 years, and that was one I tried to get on the eBay.
Mm-hmm.
so I could rewatch it again because I watched it with my uncle too,
Okay.
and I don't remember anything except for that scene because I was trying to watch I watched the trailer on YouTube and then I sent you that scene this morning and I'm thinking maybe that'll click up something for me, but it never did.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, same thing. I haven't seen it in years.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do remember though as a kid because again, I think it was when I was working at the video store, I got into I went backwards with the Nicholson movies, working there when I had time to kill. And that's when I first saw Chinatown and Five Easy Pieces and Carnal Knowledge and a couple of the other ones. And I remember really enjoying it, especially that scene. I mean, that scene is definitely the iconic moment.
Right.
Without a doubt, But again, I don't really remember much about it other than that scene, but I do remember I really enjoyed it. And I thought he was great in it as usual, When we get to a couple other ones in the 70s, those I'm much more familiar with. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and then his next movie was the musical Carnal Knowledge.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll tell you that Art Garfunkel.
Patrick's asking if he ever had any dance scenes, so I don't know. Did he?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Or
one.
just-
Everybody should know this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Batman, the art museum.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah, he's danced in a couple of movies.
Yeah.
Where he's done little,
Yeah.
sachets and shit,
Yeah. But he hasn't had like a full choreographed number or anything like that. Has he?
Actually, I'm trying to think because he might have.
He danced in Heartburn. I seen that with him and Meryl Streep.
With Meryl Streep, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a dance scene. Well, I mean, it's not like a.
Yeah, it's not Pulp Fiction here, but
right, but
Let's see.
Patrick derailed us again. Damn you!
Let's see. Nope.
No dancing.
No, he's had moments of dance in his films, but they're often quirky. This is from Co-Pilot. They're often quirky and improvised rather than traditionally choreographed. For example, in Tim Burton's Batman.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have any precise choreography. So the answer appears to be no, Patrick. So, but that's a great question.
He's no Christopher Walken.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of those guys could dance,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken, that one video he's in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fat
that's
Boy
fantastic.
Slim.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
Did you ever see Pennies from Heaven?
Steve Martin.
A Steve Martin
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
I have only seen the trailer and bits and pieces of it. I've never seen the whole thing.
Look up. I mean, you can Google it or YouTube it. Look up Christopher Walken dance scene from Pennies from Heaven. It's phenomenal.
Oh wow, okay.
It's phenomenal. Yeah, he was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, I think, for that movie, and he's only he's in more than one scene, but he's not the star.
I didn't see that, Sean, because that was a big HBO movie that was on all the time.
Yeah, I just remember it got bad reviews, so I never watched it.
It's a weird movie, and it's a very depressing movie.
Yeah.
For a musical,
Right.
Steve Martin's basically a piece of shit. I mean, the one thing about Steve Martin is he's always been likable in movies. Not in Pennies from Heaven. He's kind of a piece of shit.
Right.
But
Right.
Christopher Walken is unbelievable in that movie. All right, sorry.
I didn't know.
Sorry.
No. I didn't know Christopher Walken was even in it. So that piques my curiosity right there. So I'd be interested to see that.
He's a pimp.
Oh, nice. All right. Going on the list. All right. Now we're moving into the more the meat of the man's career. I'll throw the names out there. You tell me if you've seen them. I didn't. Hey, Carlos.
Hey, Carlos.
is here.
Carlos, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Bronson.
Jeff's here too. Hey,
Oh,
Jeff.
yeah, Jeff's here.
Yeah.
Great stream yesterday, guys.
Yep. And Jeff did a watch along with Batman today.
Yeah, I missed it.
Did he really?
Yeah. So we were talking. we were talking about the scene where Nicholson imitates Jack Palance. That's like absolutely priceless. It's worth it. It's worth it having Palance in the movie just so Nicholson can imitate him. But
That's true. That's fantastic.
You are my guy.
Right. We talked about Carnal Knowledge, the big musical. A Safe Place. Anybody?
No.
King of Marvin Gardens.
years ago,
Okay.
I just remember lots of dialogue with
Yeah.
him and Bruce Dern, and I don't remember much else.
Ago. I thought it had something to do with Monopoly when I was a kid.
So did
Seriously.
You know what? I would have associated with that too. So I'm not.
I was a dumb kid.
When I heard the title, I thought the same thing. So
Okay, good.
I'm right there with you. All right, 1973, The Last Detail.
I've
Somebody.
seen it years ago. I haven't seen
All right.
it. That was another one that I tried to get. Like Carol Kane. I just remember Carol Kane.
Carol Kane, Nancy Allen.
Oh,
She's
wow.
got a very small
How many
part in it.
movies did he do with Randy Quaid?
Quaid was in the Missouri Breaks with him. He was pretty young in that.
Last Detail he was in.
Yeah. Both of them were nominated for this movie. Nicholson was nominated for Best Actor, and Randy Quaid was Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah.
And it was also nominated for Best Screenplay from Robert Towne, who also wrote Chinatown. But Last Detail is a great movie. I'm going to talk about it later.
Oh, okay. You don't want to talk about it now?
Well, I can if we don't do a recommendation of the week later.
Okay. We'll skip it.
So stick a pin in it. But yeah, it's a great movie. It really is.
Jeff says, oh, yeah, Last Detail, top 10 Nicholson film for me. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one that I've seen. But again, it was so long ago. I saw it on TV with my uncle. Again, I don't consider myself seeing it. See you, Patrick.
Hi, Patrick. Have a good show.
I don't consider myself having seen it because I saw it on CBS Movie of the Week or whatever, and it was probably cut to shit.
Yeah.
I don't remember half of it anyway. So
yeah. See, that was one. That was one I think I almost rented a few times with a big group of people, an older Jack Nicholson movie when there was something newer.
Yep.
I know me and my one buddy, the same buddy was talking about before.
Burger.
We almost got it once. Yeah, because Jack, but we ended up picking something else, and I always meant to see it, just never have.
Yeah.
No, it's great. It really is. We'll talk about it.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it later. All right. So the next movie was a movie called Chinatown.
Yep.
Which I've seen. What?
I've seen it.
I haven't seen it since 1988, so I really can't say much about it other than I saw it in a film class. That's all I really can tell you about it. And Jack Nicholson was in it. That was it.
Yeah.
I don't remember much about it at all, and that says more about me than the movie.
Yeah. Well, I remember, the famous scene with him and Roman Polanski.
Mm-hmm.
I remember saying to my dad, "What happened?" He said, "What happened? He just split his nose open." What do you mean? And then, of course, also in that movie is the great James Hahn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Who's also still alive somehow. But yeah, that was one I think, I watched it with my dad. Maybe HBO, but maybe on regular TV. Don't remember. But I think me and some other people did go back and get that later. And yeah, of course, I remember the ending. Another movie with kind of a shock ending. Won't ruin it for anyone. But yeah, just a solid. Great. What is he? He's like a PI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like one of those kind of great private investigator type movies, and he's good at that kind of stuff,
Yeah. How about you, Kenny? Have you seen Chinatown?
I seen it when I worked at the video store 30 years ago. I don't remember. After the musical I watched, a lot of the stuff that I watched was like Batman, or Terms of Endearment. We'll get to that. That was on HBO. Like it seemed like every other day.
Right.
Back then, and it was like nominated for like that was like one of my mom's like go to if nothing was on. Terms of Endearment. You know.
Chinatown. The first time I saw that, I was working at the video store, but before I saw it, I knew the iconic line, you know, she's my sister, she's my daughter, she's my daughter, she's my sister, you know, back and forth. But I watched it again recently, and it really holds up. It's a great movie. It really is. Nicholson's great in it. John Huston is really good in it, you know, as the heavy, but Faye Dunaway is phenomenal in that movie. She really is. You know, I don't think she gets the credit she deserves in that movie.
I was just going to say that her filmography is very, very vast. You know,
and it's very solid, especially in the 70s. I mean, she had some bangers in the 70s.
It was her decade, you know.
Yeah, but yeah, I think she's phenomenal in Chinatown. And again, regardless of how you feel about Polanski, you know, as a person, I've always been the type of person that tries to separate artist from the art, so to speak. I think it's a great movie. I don't love every Polanski movie, but that's one that I really do. You know, I put it like in the top 5 for sure.
Mm-hmm. Carlos says, I love Jack Nicholson as an actor, but I'd struggle to put Chinatown as a favorite. Kind of overrated for me. A little unpopular decision.
Not at all. You like what you like.
You like what you like.
I like Jason X.
You know, I meant to.
You all right?
I meant to tell you, Sean. I almost, when they had that huge sale at Hamilton Book, I almost got Ape.
Oh, did you? Oh,
I almost did.
You should.
Like, I actually forgot what I ordered because I couldn't decide, and there were so many things for like $1.95. I was like, boom, boom. I just picked, you know, my budget's $20, and I guess I just didn't pick that one, but
it's well worth $1.95 in postage.
What was it again?
Ape.
Oh, okay.
That's the one he was telling us where the
oh, that's right. Yeah.
I want to see that piece of shit for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to spend $1.95 for it though.
It used to be on YouTube. You used to be able to watch it on YouTube. I don't know if it still is, but it used to be available. Oh, geez, Carlos. He's picking at you.
That's okay. I love Carlos. He's one of my favorite people on YouTube.
The Dirty Dancing stuff still continues every show.
And
I can't see the comments, so it's all good.
No, it's fine. I'm not highlighting it. I'm just let it go. Carlos, I see it. I'm just not putting it up. All right. All right. So 75 came along. He was in The Passenger. Anybody?
No.
Tommy.
Sure.
Yeah, Tommy. I've seen.
Yeah, I've seen Tommy, but I really love Tommy, but I don't remember him being in it for very, very long.
He's not. He's the therapist. He's only in like one scene.
Yeah, so I don't remember him standing out too much in it. But it's been a while since I've seen it.
And Margaret Yams are in that one, Kenny.
Ooh.
Wow. was that in Nicholson's contract? Every 5th movie, we got to
have. Then he was in The Fortune, played Oscar Sullivan. And then a little movie called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
Played Randall Patrick McMurphy.
Yep.
Little character nobody's ever heard of.
Mag.
So I'm sure we all have seen it, some more recently than others.
Yeah, I've already said what I had to say.
Yeah.
So go for it.
Yeah. I watched it. Like I said, I saw it on TV with my dad. Didn't really understand most of it. Only remembered the final scene. But I watched it Saturday night, Friday night. And I actually remembered more than I thought I did. I just couldn't put it in context, but his role is just amazing. And it's just going to be hyperbole. I'm just going to be spitting, but literally it probably is my favorite role that he's ever been in.
Yeah.
Or at least that I've seen, because I can't
Great
say
character.
that I've seen
Yeah.
all of them. Yeah. The character's great. The story itself is really simple, but the characters are really the thing that carries the entire film. I wrote a small review on Letterboxd about it. And I just said that, they don't make movies like this anymore. I wish they would. Will Sampson is beautiful in this movie. And I know Jack is a big part of it, but Will Sampson makes this movie for me. The relationship that the two of them have is a big part of what I liked about Jack Nicholson for it, just because he brings a lot of Jack out. But I don't know. I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I thought maybe sort of like Carlos thinks about Chinatown, that maybe it was overrated, or, maybe people thought it was, much more than it was. But I was really surprised how much it affected me, and loved it. So it really solidified the fact that Jack Nicholson is one of the great actors for me. You can think of Batman, and you can think of The Shining, and you can think of other things, but you think this role, it shows him as a human being in all facets of that. And I think that really is one of the best roles he's ever done, if not the best, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yep. Great. I don't know what Milos Forman directed before that, but man, kind of established him as like a major director. I love the scene when he takes everyone out on the boat, because it kind of breaks up the confined setting for a little bit, and you get to see he's like a complex character. And actually, like, aside from, Will Sampson and Brad Dourif, there's a lot of people in there. They're very recognizable, very familiar. Is Christopher Lloyd in there too, I think? Yeah.
Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito, yeah.
Vince Chiavelli, the guy, the
teacher,
teacher from Fast Times.
Michael Berryman's in it.
Michael Berryman.
Berryman, yeah. Well, I can see that. Yeah.
Scatman Crothers.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And I love the scene where they're all hiding, and it's like, what the hell are you doing? Same thing as you, motherfucker.
They did 4 movies together, him and Scatman Crothers. He really loves Scatman Crothers.
Yeah, I love Scatman Crothers.
He must have been so much fun to work with.
Yeah.
Plus, he was Hong Kong Phooey.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, DeVito and Jack Nicholson were like roommates at one point.
Yeah.
When they were young actors and such, and that's how DeVito got cast in Cuckoo's Nest.
Well, Michael Douglas too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helped.
Well, Michael Douglas was the producer.
Right, but DeVito and DeVito and Michael Douglas went to college together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just, I don't know. You can just stack all sorts of comments about that film, and you probably wouldn't do it justice.
And again,
Jeff
Brad
did.
Dourif is incredible in that movie.
Yeah, that you brought that up earlier, and Jeff says Cuckoo's Nest is my second favorite after The Shining. Brad Dourif in that is, I didn't realize how pivotal his character is too.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't have a lot of dialogue and he's not on screen for a hell of a lot of time, but he's
the heart of the movie.
He's the heart of the movie, exactly, and he's the innocence of the movie. He sort of characterizes innocence, and he's really good. And that was his first role.
Yeah, that was his debut,
and it was amazing. And he's been in so many things, and I don't want to turn this into the Brad Dourif show, but
shit, we could do a whole show about Brad Dourif.
I would love to do a whole show about Brad Dourif. I love him.
I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Yeah. I love Brad Dourif, and I think that we should probably do that. So let's mark that down. But yeah, no, he's fantastic in that, and just amazing. And for a first role, and with all those heavy hitters around him.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Scatman Crothers, the mild janitor.
Because I love Scatman Crothers, man.
I like how he's coming on to the one friend of Candy in the office, and then he gets all upset when all the other guys come in and like they start drinking and everything. It's hilarious.
Yeah, man gets lonely at night.
Oh well. All right. Missouri Breaks. I know that was on your list, Mr. Dan.
Yeah, I did watch that. Definitely like a more polished Western than the earlier ones. This was a pretty star-studded film. Brando and Nicholson, and the crew that Nicholson was with. It's him and Harry Dean Stanton. By the way, really a great Harry Dean Stanton role. He's not like a comic guy. He's him. The other guys are much younger or a little bit younger than the two of them. So the two of them in their little gang have the personality conflicts eventually. It's a really good role for Harry Dean Stanton. But the younger guys or the other guys are Frederick Forrest and Randy Quaid. They're both very young. And then John P. Ryan, who's credited as John Ryan. And I love seeing him turn up in other stuff because I only really knew him from like 3 or 4 things. And so it's cool to go back and see him in other things. He's also in The Postman Always Rings Twice with red hair. So it's like kind of weird. But, you know, like a lot of these guys aren't too bright. You know, like Nicholson's definitely the leader. And he steals horses and things. He decides he's going to, and he comes back from a trip. One of his gang members has been hung by this guy who owns a ranch and just basically takes the law in his own hands. And the daughter's played by Kathleen Lloyd, I think, who was in movies like The Car and things back in the 70s. So Nicholson says, well, we're just going to buy a ranch right next to him. So it's a pretty cool personality dynamic. But then this guy hires Brando as a regulator, a guy who hunts down these thieves. And the Brando character is something else because he's got like binoculars with him, and he's like, and they're like, what are those for? Oh, I just do a little bird watching, which he does. But he's everywhere, and he's all up in their business. He pieces together who they are, and he picks a few of them off. And it's a strange Brando performance. Like there's one scene with him and Randy Quaid. I think he's got food in his mouth for 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, all right. Are you ever going to finish that? But great scenes with Nicholson and Kathleen Lloyd. She's like down for a little romance, and he almost doesn't know what to do. And then great sort of battle of wills between him and Brando. Pretty solid movie. A strange one, you know. Yeah. It's not a Western like High Noon or Pale Rider are Westerns. It's like a weird movie set in the Old West, I guess I would describe it as. But yeah, I did enjoy it overall. I mean, I just thought it was interesting, very different.
Yeah, that was one of the movies on my list to watch for the show tonight, and it didn't make it because I couldn't find it on physical. I didn't realize it was on Tubi, and probably wouldn't have made it anyway.
The next movie he was in. I'm sorry, Sean, if I don't. He was only in this for a minute, so I don't know if you were going to skip it or not. But I did watch The Last Tycoon. Oh,
yeah, I was going to mention it.
Oh, yeah, it's a piece of shit.
What the hell was that movie? Like, I mean,
piece of shit.
It's a Robert De Niro movie, but I kept waiting for something to happen, and pretty much nothing happens. The best part is Nicholson's part when he shows up and they play ping pong and Nicholson punches him in the face. That's the best part of the movie.
Pretty much.
They talk about his character because he's like a representative for the writers, and Nicholson's character hates the writers in Hollywood, you know. And they talk about him, Mr. Bremer, and then he finally shows up, and those scenes are pretty good. But then after that, I was like, well, what? You know, we still got like half an hour to go, and they're just, you know, nothing's happening. There's a scene where he's watching a clip of a movie. It's kind of like Casablanca, and someone says something like, as have I, and it ends, and he's like, as have I. What a line. And then he's like, that was garbage. You have to reshoot that whole scene. And he's criticizing the dialogue. But then the dialogue in the movie for the next 20 minutes is just like that. It's like, hi, I want to see you. I can't. I'm getting married. I told you it's over, but I really want to see you. And it's like, oh my God, what is
As have I.
Right. And it just kind of ends. I did not get it at all.
Yeah.
I guess I don't remember hearing about it really. No one really talks about it in the sort of pantheon of De Niro movies, so
No,
I imagine the critics didn't really
no.
dig it too much either, because there's just nothing there.
No. That was a flop.
Yeah.
Deservedly so. It's not good. I think De
Jeff,
Niro will even say that's not good.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff had a couple of good comments about the last three movies. He said we were talking about Cuckoo's Nest. He said Louise Fletcher as Nurse Ratched, which I totally ignored her, was so unlikable. If Jack didn't do what he did in the end, I almost jumped at the TV and done it myself. Fantastic performance.
Yeah.
So, totally agree with that. And then he did say Missouri Breaks has such a crazy and bizarre Brando role and performance. I like the film though.
Yeah,
And
I barely remember that movie. It's been years.
And then he did say, agreed, Dan, Jack is definitely the highlight of The Last Tycoon. Very boring film. So thanks, Jeff.
Jeff's the man.
All right.
Yep.
And then the last film of the 70s is Going South, which we talked about a little bit with Belushi, which I did not see. I remember seeing the trailers for it because I used to be a big Belushi fan when I was a little kid and probably shouldn't have been. So I recognized him and I wanted to see the film, but I didn't get a chance to go because I was way too young. Any of you guys seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Years ago.
I remember seeing the opening scene, and I remember my dad laughing his butt off because there's like a horse that dies behind Nicholson, I think, right? And he doesn't know that the horse just keeled over, and someone's chasing him, and he's mocking them.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened. Maybe I had to go to bed because I don't remember anything else.
Yeah. It's not good.
No.
I mean, it's not horrible, but it's not. Considering the talent involved, it's pretty. You'll never find a bigger Belushi fan than me. That's the reason why I saw it originally. And Belushi's not really in it that much, but he plays like a Mexican bandit or a Mexican sheriff or some shit like that. But it's just, it's mainly Mary Steenburgen and Nicholson,
Yeah.
And again, it's not a horrible movie, but as I remember it, it's not really all that great either. Kind of forgettable.
I think I actually caught part of it on Pluto as I was flipping channels, and I think Nicholson was in a bar and he ran across some woman that he had to have some sort of relationship with or get something from, and he was insulting her, and then Belushi realized who she was and told him that that's the girl that you have to have, get whatever from. Started like, oh geez, and apologizing and whatever. And I was like, this is really not that great.
Yeah.
But that's all I remember seeing from it. And that was just like a week or two ago. Jeff says Going South is decent. Have it on DVD. Nicholson actually directed that one.
Yeah. I know Nicholson directed it.
And that's the one thing that kind of glanced over a little bit, that he is a director. He's only directed 5 films, but that is one of the ones that he directed. But he is a director, and I have not seen any of the films that he's directed. We'll get to him when we get to the 2 Jakes, but because he directed that one as well. As Jim laughs.
I was just thinking about what Dan was saying earlier about the 2 Jakes.
All right, so begin the 80s. Little movie called The Shining.
Good Go ahead, Kenny.
We'll skip it.
I've seen it once. I'm not an expert on this one because I just got into horror movies like about 2 or 3 years ago. So
Yeah.
that's about it. Ooh, I liked it. It was okay. It had the girl from Popeye in it.
Yeah.
Yes, Shelley Duvall.
Yeah, Shelley Duvall.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of her. The first thing that came into my mind besides Popeye was on Showtime. She used to do fairy tale theater.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I remember watching those, but I wasn't fully in depth with Shelley Duvall. But I think you guys can speak on this movie a lot more than I can.
Yeah, I'm still going to therapy sessions for this movie.
Okay.
I'll tell you what gave me therapy was the seeing the commercials on TV as a kid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I remember, speaking of TV Guide, I remember people writing in the TV Guide complaining about it because, you got Nicholson, he's doing that kind of a walk with the axe through the labyrinth, that,
Yeah.
woo! And then when it came on
Yeah.
The
TV,
close
I
up
was
of the
like,
kid's face going,
yeah, right.
Yep.
Yep.
Like I said, when it came on cable, I first time I watched it by myself. And it was a kind of a creepy experience to be the only one awake watching that movie. And then, like, by the time I hit college, I remember, like, somebody would maybe rent it or whatever. And I remember a couple times, like, someone would call you, hey, we're watching The Shining over in so-and-so in the other dorm. And we would run over and watch whatever was left in it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Sometimes a little bit annoying with the crowd because then they would start saying the lines before they came because they did become very iconic. But it certainly is an iconic performance. It's a Kubrick film. The stories about the film are legendary. Rolling the little ball 50 times.
Yep.
Because he wants it to go to be exact. Scatman Crothers, almost breaking down when Clint Eastwood would just, accept his first take rather than have him do something 50 times because he did Bronco Billy after The Shining.
Yeah.
Kubrick almost like broke him, and then Clint just moves along. He's like, all right, good, next scene. He was like,
Cut,
what?
Brennan.
But and then when they're in the little pantry and he's talking to Shelley Duvall, but he looks at the kid and he's like, I know you can hear me. Holy crap, that was scary as a kid. Oh my gosh, that was scary stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I was into Stephen King, so I read the book and I did appreciate some of the differences. But I do, like the film, a lot. I mean, very much a Kubrick experience for sure.
I was going to actually ask that question. I've read some Stephen King books and seen the movies, but I've never read The Shining. I was going to ask if any of you have ever read the book and seen the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I mean, huge. And I have read The Shining multiple times. Okay. The movie is not Stephen King's The Shining. It is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Let's get that out front right away. Now, I did see the movie before I read the book. Okay. I saw it theatrically with my parents, like I was telling you guys before the show. Sitting in between my parents as a 12-year-old in that bathtub scene. That's why I'm going to therapy still. But I loved the movie, okay, because the next couple of minutes are going to make it sound like I'm shitting on The Shining and shitting on Jack Nicholson's performance, and I'm not, okay? I love him, and I love The Shining. But I prefer the book, and I understand why Stephen King had a problem not only with Kubrick's adaptation of the movie, but of Nicholson's performance. Because the main difference between the two, okay, Nicholson is batshit crazy from the get-go in the movie, okay? I mean, they keep on doing the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, okay? They get there on a Monday. By Wednesday, he's already fucking crazy, all right? In the book, it's a slow process, okay? He's actually a very nice and timid guy in the book at the beginning. He's trying to make amends for the shit that he's done to his family because of the alcoholism. For what the movie is, it's a masterpiece. And Nicholson he does what he is supposed to do. Okay. That's what Kubrick wanted. That's what he does. Okay. But again, I wish that Nicholson could have portrayed the character like it was done in the book. I would have liked to seen that arc to where he starts off where he doesn't look already crazy, and by the end of the movie, now he's drooling mad and blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I actually prefer Dr. Sleep,
Okay.
you know, but that's just me. That's
I do like Dr. Sleep a lot. I think what would actually be cool, since I haven't seen The Shining in a while, is to watch them back to back. So
Yeah.
that would be
it's
cool.
really good to do that, actually.
Yeah,
That's what I want
But
to
the
do.
Doctor
Yeah.
Sleep, if you're going to watch Doctor Sleep, you got to see the extended version.
Extended, yep.
The director's cut. It's so much better.
Okay. That's good to know. Yeah, because I was going to watch The Shining again. It was in the running of one of the things to watch for tonight because I haven't seen The Shining in a while. And I'm like, oh, that'll give me an excuse to watch Dr. Sleep finally because I don't want to watch that until I watch The Shining more recently. So it's the only thing keeping me from watching it. So awesome. I remember watching The Shining on HBO, probably like you did, Mr. Dan, by myself with no lights on in the house. I used to do that a lot. Yeah, I used to do that a lot with rated R movies on HBO. I would sit there when my parents went around, and I would sit with my hand on the dial because we didn't have remote controls back then. And I would sit there with my face right up against the screen, waiting for somebody to come downstairs. And if they did, I would switch the channel. That's how I watched Halloween. That's how I watched The Shining.
Or like Kenny said, hit the button.
Yeah, we had not for Jack on Prism. I was like our local that showed the Phillies, the Sixers, and stuff like that. And Friday and Saturday nights was like Skinaflex, So like after Saturday Night Live, you'd watch that, and they would have like different like French movies or Emmanuel, or something like that. And I'd sit there and like be watching my mom's bedroom to make sure she wasn't coming out or anything like that, and just flip it on,
Yeah, it was in the downstairs of our house, and we had this big console TV in the living room, one of those big giant wooden console TVs, and there was one button on top of the TV. You would turn it to channel 3 and press the button in, and that was it. That's how you turned on HBO. So if you just turned it from channel 3 to another channel, it would just play whatever was on that channel. So it didn't matter if you had the button pressed in or not. So you could just turn it to channel 4 and you would, be watching channel 4 in Pittsburgh. So you didn't have to worry about it. But yeah, that's how I watched The Shining. But then I watched it with my dad, I think, on VHS, and just enjoyed the hell out of it. But it scared the shit out of me when I watched it by myself. But I never got a chance to read the book, and that's why I wanted to ask you guys if it was that much different, because I really didn't know. My dad read the book, but he never told me about the differences or anything.
They did not to cut you off, but they did a TV miniseries of The Shining, and that one is actually more faithful to the book. Unfortunately, because it's a TV movie, it's not that great.
And and the kid, I hate to criticize child actor.
Horrible.
The kid is horrible.
Horrible.
As,
the miniseries.
Yeah.
He's just got this like look on his face that just drives you nuts. Whereas, what is it?
Stephen Weber and Rebecca De Mornay are the two parents.
But the kid, is it Jake? Anyway, the kid in the original one, man.
Yeah.
He's
Danny Lloyd.
Danny Lloyd.
Yeah, he's great.
For a little kid, the stuff that the facial expressions and stuff that he made, it was really really good.
Yeah, he was really good. I never looked at him once and said annoying child actor ever.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was really good. All right. Next movie he was in was Ragtime. It was an uncredited performance as an attorney.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was in that.
Yeah. And then he was in The Postman Always Rings Twice, which I also saw on HBO.
Yep,
just watched it. Yep, I just watched it the other day. Thoroughly enjoyed it, actually. Really, I don't know, something about the atmosphere of it. It's like 90% atmosphere. It's just Southern California, the gas station on the roadside, and with Jessica Lange in that is whew.
Yeah.
That was a great Kathleen Turner era. That was also a great Jessica Lange era for sure.
Yes, it was.
And I didn't realize, but I've come to really be a fan of the guy that played her husband, the Greek guy. He was Greek in the movie.
John
John
Colicos.
Colatis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's on Battlestar Galactica, and
Yeah.
he's on a lot of stuff. I've always liked him. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's that guy. He was good. John Ryan was good in it. I don't know. It seemed like I was watching for 3 hours, and I didn't mind. And then at the end, I was like, oh, that was 2 hours. I was pretty absorbed in it overall. It was just solid.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it in years.
I haven't seen it in years either. I bought it on Blu-ray. Didn't get a chance to watch it for this. I still am going to watch it though. But I remember a lot about it. I watched it multiple times. Again, probably not at an age-appropriate time. But I remember a lot about it, and it wasn't just the parts you'd think that 12-year-old me would remember. I remember a lot about it. Like you said, was the atmosphere of it, and it stuck with me. But it's more Jessica Lange that sticks in my head than Jack Nicholson for obvious reasons.
Yeah, me too.
He's quite a character, like kind of a con man, but he has to settle into essentially working at a gas station for so much of the movie. And the plot, it's almost like a film noir, because there's essentially like one sort of plot they're trying to pull off. And it doesn't quite work the first time, and they try it again.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like an old school film noir almost, but really good Nicholson performance.
All right. Then he was in Reds. Did anybody sit through that? I have never seen that movie.
Once. Never again.
Never again?
No.
Okay.
I mean, good movie. Don't get me wrong. Well-made movie. Just long. I mean, long.
Tedious, too. Like, some of the scenes are so long.
So, I'll never... Again, that's one of those movies I appreciate more than I enjoy. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So, I'll never watch it again.
All right. And then next up, you said you watched The Border.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that's kind of like a standard kind of a drama film from that era. A pretty young Harvey Keitel, a pretty seasoned Warren Oates, and his wife is Valerie Perrine. She's kind of like an airhead who doesn't realize they're on like kind of a budget. She's like buying water beds and stuff. There's some pretty funny scenes in that movie for a movie that's pretty heavy. But he gets attached to this one woman who's actually played by Elpidia Carrillo, who would be in Predator.
Oh, yeah.
The female in Predator. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but she was the only one.
Right.
And there's a horrific thing that happens to her by a trafficker, and he tries to help her. Meanwhile, Harvey Keitel, they can't stop. You guys, it's the border. They can't stop all of it. So Harvey Keitel is making some side deals with some smugglers, and Nicholson really doesn't want to be a part of it, but he kind of gets involved in it. And surprise, surprise, the corruption is bigger than he thought. And it kind of has a standard ending, I guess you would say. But it's Nicholson, and it's Harvey Keitel. Pretty solid overall.
Yeah. All right. Terms of Endearment was the next year.
There you go, Kenny. Here's your moment to shine.
Like I said, my mom loved that movie, and it seemed like it was on HBO like all the time. And I just remember what a dick Jeff Daniels was in that movie. And I just, even when I was a little kid, you're like, dude, seriously? And Jack was basically the comedic, like, kind of like
he's the comic relief.
Yeah, the comic relief. It's the crazy astronaut. But I really loved it, and I really wanted to watch it again. It's on I didn't realize it was on Paramount Plus. I tried to get it. Somebody had, I think Stuart George had just seen it for the first time, and he had never seen it before, and he loved it. So I was just trying to pick that up. You're going to hear my fire company's alarm, so I'm not dying or anything.
Yam alert! Yam alert! Yam alert!
Yam alert! But that I really liked that movie, and like he was the comic relief in that. As the wacky astronaut.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier before showtime.
In terms, it's not a musical.
Yeah, that one was a big one at the theater that I worked at when it came out. It was a big hit, and it won all the Oscars, and that might even be Jeff Daniels' debut. If it's not, it's one of his first movies because it was.
I think it was because I sent. I don't know if I sent the room or I know I sent Sean that he complimented Jeff Daniels on that.
Yes.
On that, and he had like years later he went to see a play that he was in.
Yeah. Like I said, you're absolutely right. Jeff Daniels, who always plays such nice, cool, likable characters, man, he's a douche in that movie, you know. But yeah, it's not a movie that I watch over and over. You know, I own it. It's part of a collector's set, but it is a very well-made movie. And Shirley MacLaine and Nicholson, they both deserve their Oscars for that movie. I mean, they're both terrific. Deborah Winger's terrific in it. You know, I mean, if you like tearjerker movies, it's a good one. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, he won Best Supporting Actor for that.
Yep.
That was a movie that I bought and put in my collection because I thought it was a movie that my stepfather used to watch all the time. And if you knew my stepfather was one of those, you know, old-timey racist guys, you know, that would just sit and watch John Wayne movies all day long.
Right.
But I thought he was addicted to this movie, and he wasn't. It was Steel Magnolias that he watched over and over.
Okay, yeah.
But,
I would rather watch Terms of Endearment than Steel Magnolias, to be honest.
But I saw Terms of Endearment on sale, and I bought it because I thought it was the one he liked because I wanted to see what about it was what he was into. But yeah, it was Steel Magnolias that he was into. But so I still haven't seen Terms of Endearment.
Yeah, watch that one with Lori though.
I was going to. She said she wants to watch it.
That.
Yeah, she said she wants to watch it.
Yeah,
so
make sure you got a box of tissues.
Yeah,
okay.
It is. It's a tearjerker.
Okay. Pritzi's Honor was next up.
Yep.
And we talked about that a little earlier. I don't remember if it was before the show or after
before.
we went on.
Before the
we went
show.
live. Okay. Yeah. None of us have seen it, I think.
I saw it after it came out. I saw it once.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think William Hickey got nominated for that.
Best supporting actor.
I think Angelica Houston might have as well.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But yeah, William Hickey's great in that movie. I do remember that.
Mm-hmm.
What a cookie!
Yeah, that voice of his. I mean,
if you guys don't know, William Hickey's the grandfather in Christmas Vacation.
Yeah,
One Crazy Summer.
One Crazy Summer.
Dark Side. He's been in a million movies.
Toulon.
Yeah.
He was the first Toulon, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, Angelica Houston was actually in Postman Always Rings Twice too. She had a small role. She was good in that. But
he was banging her at the time, right?
Yeah, they were together for about 8 years or so.
Yeah, they were together. But good movie. You know that the one line where he's like, "Do I marry?" Because he finds out she's an assassin and he's an assassin. He's like, "Do I marry her? Do I ice her? Which one of these?" You know. Now, do you guys remember? I remember. I forget it was Siskel or Ebert. One of them said that they both gave it 2 thumbs up, but one of them said they could have done without his accent. Not that it was a deal breaker. Do you guys remember that? I remember thinking.
Yeah, I think it was Siskel.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Siskel that was bitching about that.
But I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was fine. Yeah, it's good.
But yeah, I just remember William Hickey stole every scene he was in. Yeah. He was so good. Yeah, actually, Angelica Houston, I think you're right. Jeff, I think she did win for that. Mm-hmm. Not just nominated.
But Nicholson doing the Brooklyn accent took some getting used to. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we got some good ones to go.
Yeah, I'm going to say we're going to have to speed it up here because, like I said, I didn't want to necessarily do every movie because it's take forever, but we kind of fell into that trap. So, I'm just going to throw movies out there. You guys just tell me if you've seen them, and we'll stop and talk about them. Witches of Eastwick.
Have another cherry.
Saw it in the theater. I think I was overruled, so that's what we saw. Remember nothing. I remember nothing about it.
Oh, it's so good.
Is it
Poor
good?
you little devil.
Oh God, Witches of Eastwick is probably my favorite Nicholson movie. Believe it or not,
Really?
I fucking love that movie so much. And you got that great cast, okay? Nicholson and those three women, okay?
Right.
But Veronica Cartwright from Invasion of the Body Snatchers and Alien.
Yeah.
She steals that movie from everybody. And
Really?
she does it easily. If you haven't seen that or you haven't seen it in forever, watch it. I'm telling you. Veronica Cartwright and Richard Jenkins in his movie debut. He's her husband. Okay?
Yeah.
But anyways, the two of them are so good together. But she has a scene. She almost becomes possessed at some point, where she's speaking in tongues. And at one point, she's just like sprouting out all this crazy shit. Dildos, anal sex. And she looks at her husband, and goes, "You know what? I don't have anything against a good fuck, but something is wrong and evil." It's so funny. Yeah, watch Witches of Eastwick. I'm telling you, it is so good. George Miller directed it. I mean, it's
That's right. Yeah,
it's a phenomenal. It's weird, but it's a phenomenal movie.
Okay. You had me at George Miller. There we go.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it is so good.
Broadcast news.
He's a cameo and he's hilarious in it.
Yep.
pretty funny. Yeah.
Yep. He plays the
Love
news-
that movie.
The anchor.
Yep, love that movie.
Ironweed.
Don't love that movie.
Haven't seen it.
Paint dry.
Oh, that bad, huh?
Yeah, it's like watching paint dry.
All right, Kenny, you awake?
Yeah,
Here's your
why
time to
does people
shine.
think I'm looking?
Because
I
your
was
movie's
like,
next.
yeah, I was looking up Iron, and I just remember Michael O'Keefe in that movie for some reason.
An Ironweed?
In Ironweed, Michael O'Keefe was in that.
Oh, okay. Not
Yeah,
to be
see, I didn't
confused.
remember that. I just remember it was like watching paint dry.
I thought you
and
said
his
Miles
character's name
O'Keefe.
is
He was the guy on the train.
Thanks, Mr. Dan. Somebody got it.
and his character's name is Francis, apparently.
Yeah, Francis.
Call me
Phelan.
psycho. Anybody call me Francis and I'll kill you.
All right, Kenny, Batman.
What can you say? Me and Sean were talking about this before, and Sean's favorite is Ledger. I like Nicholson because I thought Nicholson was more, what did I say, aggressive, like more calculating Joker, and
More diabolical.
more diabolical. That was the word I was looking for. Yeah.
Yeah. We were comparing Jokers.
You
Ah,
were comparing.
how you feel about
Gentlemen
Cesar
walked in.
Romero?
Yeah. I like Cesar Romero.
He had to laugh and smile down.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
he
we
did.
were talking about that because we were so used to Cesar Romero, but I
Mhm.
thought Cesar Romero played it more for a comedy effect,
Mhm.
Yeah, well, the whole
Like
show.
cartoony, yeah.
Yeah.
Than
that show was
Nicholson did,
Yeah. Well,
so
yeah, I remember when they were talking about that. Somebody, of course, had to run to Adam West and get his thoughts, and he's like, "Well, they're going to call me, of course." Not comprehending that they wanted to do something different.
Right.
Even before that, the show, there was a serial which was goofy because it was from when it was made in the 40s or
Yeah.
whatever, but it wasn't like, it wasn't pow, bam, So why he thought they were going to go back to that. But then what happened is, I think when they announced Michael Keaton, people couldn't wrap their heads around that.
Right.
Oh yeah.
But then they were like, well, wait a minute. What kind of movie is this going to be? And thank goodness they had Jack Nicholson to draw people in as the Joker.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's top billed.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, Joker is the top billed actor in Batman.
Yeah. And I guarantee you, 99% of the people that went in there for Nicholson came out thinking Keaton was Batman. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He really pulled it off. Even that one scene when he's Bruce Wayne, when he puts the right before he puts the tray in his shirt.
You want to get nuts?
Yeah.
Come on.
He channels a little bit of Beetlejuice there, like a little bit of crazy, you know.
Yep.
He was good.
Yeah. I remember the outcry when he got announced as being Batman. And what did he have under his belt at that time? He
was a comedic
Mr.
actor.
Mom.
Well, he was Mr. Mom and Beetlejuice and
Night Shift.
Night Shift.
Night Shift. Yeah,
because that was even
speaking
before
of-
Clean and Sober, I think. No,
Yeah.
Clean and Sober was
Clean and Sober.
87. So
Yeah, he had gotten. Speaking of Jeff Daniels, he got fired from Purple Rose of Cairo and replaced with Jeff Daniels.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, Woody Allen fired him.
Yep.
But it was also Tim Burton. I don't think people really had a grasp on who Tim Burton was and what he was about.
Yep.
right.
You know, him and his the production designer he used, I forget what his name was, Anton something. You know, very eccentric guy that had his own vision. You think about Tim Burton's movies, you'll just still have this look
It's
about
all gothic.
gothic stuff. You know,
Yeah. I remember when we got the trailer for Batman and we put it on the first film and we showed it, and they had, wait till they get a load of me, the Jack part. And I was just like, oh, there's nobody that's going to beat this guy as the Joker ever. That role is totally his. And like I was telling Kenny, though, then Ledger came along.
Yeah.
For me anyway. But
I'm there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was great. And I remember everybody like going to JCPenney's and they had a giant Batman section in the men's department, like with every sort of Batman shirt you could possibly have. And then hearing that Jack Nicholson took the merchandising rights as part of his contract. He took part of the merchandising rights.
Yep.
And he made a killing.
smart guy.
Oh yeah, he made more off of Batman than anything.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
I just remember that year that you could not walk out of your house without seeing the bat signal somewhere.
Yep.
I mean, Batman was everywhere that year, to the point where it's like, I was sick of it before I even saw the friggin' movie, because they were hyping it so much,
Yeah.
And I like Batman and I like Nicholson and I like Michael Keaton in it, but I'm like you. I prefer the Nolan trilogy to those movies, being honest,
Yeah.
I do like the Tim Burton movies over the Schumacher movies for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But my favorite out of all four of them is probably the second movie, Batman Returns, with Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah.
And that's mainly because of Michelle Pfeiffer and Danny DeVito. They're both terrific in that movie.
That is a super dark movie.
Yeah, it's probably the reason why I like it.
Yeah, it's super dark. But yeah, I walked out of the first Batman actually disappointed.
Me too.
Because I don't know if it was because it couldn't possibly live up to the hype or it just wasn't that great of a movie. I still don't know, but I've watched it several times since then and I still don't think, wow, that was fantastic. I think it's okay.
Yeah, that's the way I feel about it. I think it's, again, I like it, but I always thought it was overrated.
Yeah. Nicholson's great. But
look at Kenny's over there having an aneurysm.
I remember I seen that opened on my 20th birthday in '89.
Yeah.
I went to see it 5 times that weekend.
Wow.
That's cool.
And I couldn't get enough. I was like, Dan will know this from Deptford Mall. You couldn't go anywhere in Deptford Mall. Spencer's. You went to like KB Toys, all the stuff and then like, I think that was like, wasn't it? I might be wrong about this, but that was like one of the first ones since the Star Wars ones that was like marketed like out the ass, especially like McDonald's.
Like I said, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing Batman plastered everywhere.
And then there was the music connection because of the Prince soundtrack.
Prince.
Yeah.
So it was
2 soundtracks. They had
on
the
MTV.
soundtrack and then they had the orchestral. Oh, look at we got Raspberry Parade. I'll see if I can do that shit again.
Happy birthday, Jack. Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have
That
no
was
fucking
cool.
clue where that came from.
That was fantastic. For those listening to the replay, Jim just had balloons appear out of nowhere on his
That's
screen.
right.
So.
The magic man is back.
The algorithm's a little bit late with the birthday
Yeah, that was the birthday salute.
angle.
But yeah, I remember even that summer, like all the bands that I would go see live were, somebody in the band would be wearing a Batman shirt.
Yeah.
You just couldn't escape it.
Yeah, when I did my 50 years of, because I know we got to move on, but when I did the 50 years of film, okay, and I did 89, and of course, Batman was the highlighted movie, because again, you couldn't go anywhere without Batman being on there. But then when I did my recap of the year, my top 10, I was shocked. Batman didn't even make the top 10.
Wow.
I know, you're having a heart attack over there. But go back, okay, if you can, and look at the movies that came out especially that summer. 89 was a great year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the two that immediately pop into my head right then and there is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and Lethal Weapon 2. I would rather watch either one of them over Batman.
Yep.
Incorrect.
Now, for me, Lethal Weapon 2 is a sequel that matches the original. Batman Returns, not for me, not as much. Yeah.
It's all good.
Little crowded with villains and everything, but
no balloons for you.
No balloons.
Your homework, Jim, is to figure out how to make those balloons happen for the next show.
Yeah, no shit. That was pretty good.
That was awesome.
All right, let's move on from Batman, move into the 90s and go to the two Jakes.
Yeah. Tell your story, Dan.
Well, me and a bunch of friends had nothing else to do, or there was nothing else playing that night. So we said, Nicholson in a movie? All right, we'll go see it. And I remembered seeing Chinatown on TV. Probably been a couple years. I think I probably rented it Chinatown again and watched it like when I was at an age when I can appreciate it after the two Jakes. So anyway, we're in the two Jakes. Me and my friends probably had a couple beers ahead of time. We're sitting there. We're all kind of slumped in their seats. About an hour in, my friend Dave turns to my friend Mike, whose nickname is Burger.
Burger.
It says real loud, Burger, do you know what the fuck's going on in this movie? And we were just like, nope.
Also directed by Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, and I remember like Nicholson was pretty good as like the PI and everything, but plot wise, I don't know. Just kind of meandered. I have no idea.
I watched it 6 months ago with my mom on cable. Okay, I couldn't tell you a thing about it other than Nicholson was in it and he directed it. Right. I mean, my mom, in a slightly cleaner version than what your friend said, looked at me at one point and said, "Hey, what the hell is going on?" Yeah. That's why I laughed so hard when you told us that story.
I remember when it played at my theater and we had a lot of people coming out and going, "Wow, that was not good."
Yeah.
And very disappointed, but I didn't see Chinatown recently enough, so I never bothered seeing the two Jakes, so didn't put myself through it.
Turns out Kenny loves it, and I'm wrong again. He's still mad about Batman.
No, I'm over it. Can't hold on to anger.
Join us next week on Talking Movies with Sean and Jim.
Yeah. How do we, you two?
Then we'll do a special episode about yams. And hey, welcome back, Kenny.
Next week we'll have yams and Brad Dourif.
That's right.
I misunderstood what you said. I thought yams on Brad Dourif. I was like, no. That's a movie I don't want to see.
It's a special show.
Real special.
Like a very special blossom.
Okay, we are way out.
It's usually about this time when the show crashes and burns.
Basically.
Yep. Timestamp 139:44.
All right.
Anybody
Anybody
just looked
see?
at four idiots laughing, you know.
If you're tuning in just now, I'm sorry. All right. Anybody see Man Trouble?
No,
All right.
No.
Few Good Men.
you can't handle the truth.
Yep.
Yep.
Saw it in the theater. I let me say this: a little bit overrated. I think, but pretty good movie. And again, I'm not always I wasn't even really a fan of these two guys. And one of them said, Siskel and Ebert, one of them said it was a tired old retread, which was a little harsh, but I don't think it broke any new ground. Nicholson was great. I don't think it was that challenging for him at that stage in his career. Cruise was good. Everybody was good. I don't think Kiefer Sutherland was that good at all. He was like mechanical, or it was like it was like a caricature or something. He bothered me, and I usually like him, but pretty good. But I feel like you see it once and you're like, okay, I got it.
Yep.
I've seen it for Demi Moore.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw it at the theater. It's the only time I've seen it. I've seen the replay of the speech in the court. I don't know how many times, and that's pretty much all I've taken away from that movie, and I'm still satisfied with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I own it. I love it. I think it's a great movie. I do.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that might be the first movie that I noticed Kevin Pollak in.
Okay.
He's Tom Cruise's
that's right. That's right.
partner,
Yep.
and he's great.
Mhm.
And then he started popping up everywhere. Usual Suspects,
Yeah.
Grumpy Old
Yeah,
Men, all the other stuff. Kevin Bacon's great in that movie. J.T. Walsh is great. I mean,
I was going to mention him. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody and their brother. I mean, I even think Kiefer's decent, and I don't think he's great in it, but I think he's decent. Yeah.
Even the one sergeant they had on the stand, who was kind of like defending the
Christopher Guest.
No. I don't know. They had to put a young guy on the stand. I remember reading about him. I think it was like his first role or something. He was like really good.
Oh yeah. The two guys that were accused of whatever.
Yeah, right.
The one guy was in Twin Peaks, and he was in that movie Gladiator way back when. The boxing movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the African American kid, yeah, you're right. He was. That was his first role. He wasn't an actor. That was like, and yeah, he's great. He's great
really
in that movie. Yeah, no, I really enjoy that movie. I think it's great. So,
Good shooting.
Yeah, I won't argue with you about it being a good movie, but I think when I think about it, I think about sitting through all the other stuff that's not Jack Nicholson, and I just don't want to bother with it. And that's just what I take away from it.
Yeah, I mean, I like courtroom dramas and stuff when they're well made. As long as they're not like episodic TV type shit.
Right.
So.
Okay, 92. Also in 92, Hoffa. Anybody?
Saw it. Don't remember it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wolf.
Saw it.
Yep. Like it. Fun
Like
movie.
Yep. Fun movie. James Spader is great.
James Spader's
he's
great.
in that?
Oh yeah.
I really want to see it.
He's the douchebag in it. He starts off as Nicholson's protege, and then he fucks him over, fucks his wife, the whole 9 yards, and that's about the time that Nicholson starts turning into a wolf. And I won't go any further than that. But yeah, Spader's really good in it.
Yeah, some other good people in it too. But of course, because it's Jack Nicholson, he's not gonna be like the Lon Chaney deal where he's like covered in fur. He was like the Werewolf of London kind of makeup where you could still tell it was Jack, and it was cool. It was just fun,
Oliver Reed makeup.
Yeah, like him running through Central Park, it was fun.
Okay. I've always wanted to see it. I just have never gotten around to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great. I wouldn't put it up there in the top tier, werewolf movies or anything like that. But it is a fun movie. It really is.
Okay. 95, The Crossing Guard.
Saw it. Don't remember it.
I remember David Morse getting actually a lot of the praise as far as acting in that movie.
Yeah, I thought you should have got nominated for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched it for the show. I thought it was terrible.
Moving on.
David Morris. Well, David Morris was good in it. He was really good. Jack was good in it, but I thought the plot was just bad. I thought the writing was bad. Sean Penn wrote it.
Yeah.
And it was just not a good movie. Way too much slow motion. I don't know. It was just really bad. I also watched the other Sean Penn, Jack Nicholson collaboration, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, it was a slog to get through. I had trouble getting through it. It was just not a good movie. We talked about Blood and Wine, which is 96. Evening Star, also from 96.
Never heard of it.
Mars Attacks.
Don't like it. And I know
You
I'm
don't
in the
like it?
minority because everybody
Really?
I know loves that movie.
He's funny in that movie though.
He is.
Yeah, he is.
And I like the creature design.
Yeah.
You know, the Martians are cool. They are, but
yeah.
I'm
Quaker-
hit and miss when it comes to Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
I am
yeah.
too.
Yeah. But I love, the Quaker in Jamaica. He plays he plays how many
Three
roles?
rolls it.
Three.
I think.
Yeah. That's the one
Yeah.
that's fun.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. It's a stupid movie, but I like it. But like you said, I'm hit and miss with Tim Burton, but that's one of the ones that kind of sort of slips under the fence. I kind of like it, even though it is Tim Burton. But yeah, he's probably one of the best things about it. As Good as It Gets, 97.
Great movie.
Yeah, it is a great movie.
Great movie. I haven't seen it since 1998 though, so I can't really talk about it.
Yeah.
But I remember him being really, really good in it.
All three of them are great in that movie.
Yeah.
I like when when he's he's kind of like this tough guy, and then Cuba Gooding's like, "You're gonna take care of this dog, right?" And he gets like real timid, Yeah, he's I thought that was funny.
He won the Oscar for that.
Yeah. Again, deservedly so. That was Oscar number 3.
Yep. All right, we're entering into the last stage of his career, which are the 2000s and the 2010s. 2001 is The Pledge, which
I don't think I've seen that one.
I've seen it. I'm going to save it for later.
All righty.
Dan, Kenny?
No,
Okay. About Schmidt, 2002.
I've seen it.
Seen it.
Like it.
Love Kathy Bates.
She is so
Yeah.
good in that.
She has.
Fearless.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I've always
Fearless.
loved Kathy Bates, but I love her at a totally different level, and not because I'm suddenly attracted to her. It's like
Right.
the balls it took for that.
Yeah.
I mean, God bless her. That that's
Yep.
it's a decent movie, but she's the MVP of that movie.
Yeah. Yep. And he won a Golden Globe for that, and he was nominated for Best Actor.
Mm-hmm.
Anger Management. I remember seeing that one. Did not.
I hate Adam Sandler. I love that movie.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, believe it or not, and mainly because of Nicholson. Because you could tell that he knows what he's in, and he just runs with it. And he's got that sparkle in his eye again. And yeah, I love that movie. I really do. I don't own it, but it's one of my favorite Sandler movies for sure.
Okay. It might have been the time I watched it or the mood I was in when I watched it, but I just did not get anything out of it. Even Nicholson couldn't pull it out of the garbage for me. I just did not.
I've seen it on cable.
So did I.
It was okay. Yeah.
I'm so pretty and witty and gay.
Something's Gotta Give, 2003.
Funny movie.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
He is screwing a Amanda Peet. So she's like in her 20s at the time.
Oh, that's right. And
Diane Keaton is her mother.
Diane.
And comes walking into the house to see Jack Nicholson butt ass naked. So then she decides to date a younger man who is Keanu Reeves. And then of course the two of them end up hooking up, and this and that. It's a romantic comedy, but it is actually pretty funny.
I have to check that out. That
was playing at the Shitty Theater in the 2000s when I was working there.
Sean, it's on
That's the main
Pluto.
reason why I saw it.
Okay, thanks, Kenny.
Mhm.
All right, so then he got three left. Two of them
Yeah.
I've seen. One of them I haven't. The
Yeah, I'm
Departed.
waiting for. Yeah. Yes.
We have to talk about The Departed.
Fucking love it.
Yep.
It's almost although Infernal Affairs, the movie that it's based on, okay, is a masterpiece. Okay,
Yep.
it really is. But to me, the only thing that keeps The Departed from becoming a masterpiece is that final fucking shot at the end with the rat. It pisses me off every time I see it because it's just putting a hat on a hat. Other than that, I love that movie. I love everything about it. Nicholson is phenomenal in it. You were talking about Baldwin earlier, Dan.
Yeah.
He's friggin' hilarious. Mark Wahlberg, of all people. I mean, he got nominated for that. You know, he's great. Everybody is great in that movie. And it's one of Scorsese's best. Certainly one of his best in the last 20 years.
Yep.
So, yeah, I love The Departed.
Yeah. I was glad to see Jack get a role like that, you know, like the kind of crime boss role that late in his career. You know, it was really solid. But I do want to, believe it, I've never seen Infernal Affairs, if you can believe that.
Wow. I'm shocked.
Yeah, I know.
Of the three, I figured you for sure. Had
Exactly.
seen that movie. Yeah. Oh,
exactly.
It's great.
Yeah. I'm going to have to order it soon. You've seen it, Sean?
Yeah, well, that doesn't shock me as
it.
much as Dan, though, being how much in Asian films.
Yeah, I've seen some crime movies that are a lot more obscure than that one, you know.
Yeah, and that's a biggie. I mean, that's
heard of it.
That's a biggie, you know. But yeah, The Departed's it's such a good movie.
Yeah, I'd heard about Infernal Affairs way before The Departed was even made, and I knew about it, and I knew about its influence and a lot of that, but I've never gotten around to seeing it, and just it hasn't happened. But yeah, The Departed is fantastic. Saw it in the theater when it came out. I saw it opening weekend, as a matter of fact. So I did actually go see a movie with Jack Nicholson on opening weekend.
There you go.
But it wasn't just because of him. That, like you said, that cast is stacked.
Yeah,
Matt Damon, DiCaprio.
Martin Sheen is great in that movie. I mean,
who's the
Ray Winston? I forgot about Ray Winston.
Oh,
He's so good too. Is the number one hood with Nicholson?
Yeah, the woman. Oh Jesus,
Vera Farmiga.
Yes. She's good in that. Yeah. Just all around.
When I tell you to bury a fucking body in the marsh, I don't mean 10 feet or some guy getting a blowjob. Don't you fucking laugh.
Dan, Infernal Affairs is streaming on Max.
Okay. I'm going to have to talk. My daughter has Max. I'm going to have to get that.
Oh,
her.
You'll love it, Dan.
Yeah.
You will love it.
I haven't seen it either, so I will definitely have to check that one out.
Yeah, if it's available like on Max, I will definitely check it out.
Yeah,
I just didn't know where to find it. Okay, The Bucket List.
Seen it. I really liked it. I thought it was a really, really beautiful movie. My opinion.
Saw it, turned it off halfway into it, not because it was bad, because it was hitting too close to home for personal reasons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't think I could watch it now. But
never went back to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's movies that are in that setting. This guy can be rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, I couldn't make it through 10 minutes of Up.
Right.
Oh, that movie is so unfair, because you put that on and you're just thinking it's going to be a stupid little cartoon movie. And then that first 10 minutes, you're sitting there with bawling ass crying. It's like, that's not fair,
Yeah, it rips your soul out.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I defy anybody to sit and watch the first 10 minutes of that and not cry. You can't do it. You can't.
Yep.
Did you see that yet, Dan?
No. Nope.
Oh my, dude! Don't watch it with your wife because you guys will be absolutely.
I was gonna say
falling.
why? She gonna lose respect for him as a man?
No.
Well,
I see you laughing.
Yeah.
You lose your man card.
I just,
Yeah.
And don't put that on for your grandkids either.
Yeah, they're too young. Right.
Yeah,
I kind of already figured that, but now I really, now I got it. Yeah.
Texas said I watched it and didn't cry, but I don't remember anything about it.
That's because you don't remember anything.
Texas has no soul. That's why we get along so well.
Oh man, yeah,
So
that
one
would
more?
be a challenge.
He's
What's
got
that?
one more movie. Only one
He's
more
got
movie.
one more movie in
We
2010.
actually did make it through.
We made it. How Do You Know? Where he played Charles Madison, which I have never seen.
Didn't watch it.
Never seen it.
Never even heard of it before today.
Yeah, kind of weird too, right? You figure like he just like it was a couple of years before people realized like, hey, I think Jack Nicholson's retired. It wasn't like a big fanfare, so it wasn't like, hey, this is his last movie. I don't think,
right?
I'm sorry. How Do You Know? Is that the one with Paul Rudd? And yeah, okay. Now I've heard of it, but I didn't
Owen
see it.
Wilson.
Yeah, it was like a huge flop. I remember that. It was supposed to be like a romantic comedy of some kind, and yeah, I just remember the reviews on it were like horrible.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because that might even be like a James L. Brooks.
Yeah,
movie.
he did. I was just gonna say he reconnected with James L. Brooks.
Yeah, I mean, and every time he's been with James L. Brooks, it's been gold. So,
right.
Yeah,
wow.
I do. Like I said, I know I didn't see that movie, but I do recall it now. At the time. So that's probably kind of like Hackman with Welcome to Mooseport was like, you know what? I've made enough money. Fuck it, I'm done.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, like Dan was saying, it's just sort of he didn't appear in something for quite a while, and then you just realized he's done. And then he came out and said, "Yeah, I'm retired. I'm done." And that was it.
Just see him on TV all the time at the Lakers games,
right?
Right. So
I don't even think he's not even doing that anymore, right?
I have no idea. I don't watch basketball anymore.
Yeah,
the Bulls suck.
Don't even get me started with the Sixers.
No yams, no jams.
All right. Well, we did get under 2 hours, so we did go through the whole list. So
yes.
I'm proud of us.
You can get some balloons going.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the fuck I did last time. 2 soundtracks. 2. I don't fucking know.
So we've made it to the part of the show where we give our movie recommendations, and I'm assuming that everybody has a Jack film to recommend. If not, that's okay, because I'm usually the one that breaks the rules. But
I'm breaking them today.
You're breaking them today? Right.
Yeah.
Got to be one rebel every time.
I'm a rebel, Dottie.
Some things you don't want to know about me. Some things you couldn't know about me. Some things you shouldn't know about me.
So I guess we'll start with Kenny. What is your Tubi recommendation?
My Tubi recommendation is from 1972. What's Up, Doc? Starring Ryan O'Neal, Barbara Streisand, and the movie is stolen by Madeline Kahn.
Yep.
Highly recommend that movie. It's a very, very funny movie. And like I said, Madeline Kahn steals that movie away from a very game Barbara Streisand and Ryan O'Neal.
Great car chase, too.
Oh, that's one of the best car chases. A very underrated car chase.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Down those San Francisco streets.
Yep.
So that's my recommendation this week.
Very good.
Alrighty. Good one. I
Thanks.
vaguely remember that from my childhood. All right, Jim?
I mentioned it earlier. My this week is The Last Detail. This is my Shout Factory 4K Blu-ray combo. I don't have 4K, but I really wanted this movie on Blu, and this was the only way I can get it. Directed by Hal Ashby and co-starring Otis Young, Carol Kane, and Clifton James, and Randy Quaid, of course. This is a great movie. It's a comedy. It's a drama. The general plot is two MPs who are Nicholson and Otis Young are sent to take Randy Quaid, who's accused of stealing, to go to the brig, and he's going to go to jail for the next 8 years. And when they pick him up, they realize that he's a very naive, sweet, likable kid. So they decide to give him a good time on the way. They go to a brothel, they go to a picnic, they go to all kinds of shit, and they kind of bond. And I don't want to go too much into it, but it's one of Nicholson's best performances. He was nominated for Best Actor, as I said earlier, and Randy Quaid is just phenomenal. It's one of his best, if not his best performances. And he was also nominated for Best Supporting Actor. So from 1974, my recommendation this week is The Last Detail.
All right.
Good one. That's a good one.
All righty. I'll do mine, and then we'll do you, Dan.
All right.
All right. Mine is from 2001. I kind of mentioned it when we were going through the films. It is The Pledge. I saw it on Paramount Plus. I do not own a copy of it, but that is going to change. It was directed by Sean Penn, stars Jack Nicholson, obviously, and Robin Wright. I don't know if she was Robin Wright Penn at the time. Jack Nicholson stars as a police detective. He's actually retiring from the force, and just as he's retiring, the word comes in that this little girl has been raped and killed in the wilderness, like in the snow, and he kind of gets involved sort of by accident, and he ends up promising the parents that he'll find who did it, and he gets involved in the investigation even though he's not technically a member of the police force anymore, and he really gets involved with the investigation and sort of more than he should. And he gets involved with a woman played by Robin Wright, and she has a daughter. And I won't say anything more. This movie kind of it's 2 hours, and it kind of goes through a couple different phases, and you can't really see where it's going. But it is really, really good. It's a lot better than the other Sean Penn directed movie. By far, it really had me, and I've kind of been thinking about it ever since, and it was really surprising. It was you kind of see all facets of Jack Nicholson as an actor in it, and I'm surprised you don't hear much more about it. So, The Pledge is my recommendation for this week.
Very
Mr.
good.
Dan.
All right. I'm going with a Hammer film from 1971. Not one of the usual suspects for Hammer. Hands of the Ripper. It's on Tubi, rated R, 125 minutes. The hands of Jack the Ripper live again as his fiendish daughter kills again and again and again. So the poster, I mean, they don't hide it from you. And it also stars Eric Porter, who plays like a psychologist who takes an interest in her and tries to help her, but it's a little weird. He's got a kind of, he just walks in when she's taking a bath, and he's like, I'm old enough to be your father. And I think back in those days that was still kind of weird, but this one is for Hammer. It's a little sleazier and a little more gruesome and a little meaner than a lot of their other films. There's some pretty surprisingly bloody kills in this one. It's kind of a mean one, but it's interesting to see Hammer's take on a Jack the Ripper type story. There's a final scene, or one of the scenes towards the end was supposed to be in a church. They went to a cathedral to see if they can get permission. They were like, what's the movie about? They told him, and they were like, no. So they actually made their own set. It's pretty good. It actually looks pretty good. So not one of the more, well-known Hammer films. It's not a Dracula or Frankenstein or anything like that, but it's a pretty good one. Hands of the Ripper.
I have to check that one out.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a Hammer film. I always thought, when I'd heard about it, I always thought for some reason that was an Italian film.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, there's so many.
Yeah.
It sounds like a giallo. Well, it could almost be like a giallo too. Yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
I'm
New
confusing it
York
with the New York
Ripper's an
Ripper.
Italian flick.
Yeah,
New York.
yeah.
There's New York Ripper, and then I
Yeah.
think there's even a like a really bad Klaus Kinski Ripper movie, but I don't know. Yeah, I think this is the only Hammer film that dealt with Jack the Ripper. They mentioned him in one of their in Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. It was coexisting with the Ripper, and they were thought the killings had to do something with the Ripper. I thought they should have had like a crossover or a little universe, but they never actually did anything like that. But yeah, it's a pretty good one.
Cool. Good pick.
Good pick.
All right. Look at us. We only went 5 minutes over this week.
Nice. And covered his whole career.
And
Pretty
covered
much.
the whole career.
Yeah.
All right.
We fucking rule.
And we only went off topic occasionally.
Sorry.
All right.
Well, I started the night off great with saying Carnal Knowledge from
Two
musical.
erections.
I don't remember when that happened, but thanks for catching it, Texas.
Hey, Corey. Bye, Corey.
Sorry. Catching this just as we're leaving, but glad you made it. Yeah, so that'll wrap it up for tonight. Thanks, Mr. Dan, for being
Yes,
our guest
thank you,
tonight.
Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
No problem.
Awesome.
And
as always.
it sounds to me like there's definitely a Brad Dourif stream in the works here. At some
You're
point.
coming back for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
I'd
you
be
come
down
back
for
for
that.
that one?
I would definitely be down for that.
Yeah,
All right.
there's a lot. There's a lot.
Want
You
the
forget.
next show?
What's
That
that?
way, Dan's. You want to do it the next show? That way.
Well, I don't. You guys tell me. I mean, you guys do your thing, and I'm always
we'll
almost
figure
always
it out.
ready.
We'll definitely
we'll
put it
figure
on
it
the
out.
schedule. But
Yeah, put it on the schedule. He's
we'll make
got
sure you
a
can
lot
be
of
there.
really like some lesser known ones.
Yeah.
He's in a movie, an IRA movie called Hidden Agenda. Really solid movie. It's not just the usual.
Yeah, actually, as soon as you said the title, I remembered that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So
Thank you,
it's
Texas.
yeah.
Thank
I
you,
would
Texas.
want us to have some time to
Yeah,
watch
I
this
definitely-
few, so we don't want to talk about Child's Play for 2 hours. So
Right. Yeah. I definitely love Brad Dourif, but I really needed to get into a lot of his other roles because I
Mhm.
know obviously One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Exorcist 3, but and what was the other one? Death Machine, I
He
think.
was also Sean in Dune.
Yep.
The
original.
1984.
The original.
Yeah.
I know
he
Kenny
played-
has this on the same multi-pack as me, Eyes of Laura Mars. He's in that.
Yes.
Okay, I've got that one, so that'd be good.
Mhm.
All right, cool.
Deadwood,
Yeah,
the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean,
Yeah,
Brad
he pops
Dourif's
up
one of those guys
everywhere.
that's been in a million movies
Yeah,
and
So
TV
would-
shows. I loved him
Yeah.
on Deadwood. Did you guys
Yeah.
ever watch Deadwood? That TV
I never
show?
got to the end, so I don't really remember him.
He was the doctor in the town.
I kind of do remember him. Yeah.
Yeah, he was fantastic in that
Yeah.
show. He really was, because for once he played somebody nice. Because Brad
Yeah, that's
Dourif
why-
he specializes in playing douchebags of some kind or another.
That's why. Yeah. That's why I forgot he was in that. Yeah.
Yeah,
he just
he's
showed
really
up
good.
in The Pit on Max. His daughter Fiona is in.
Yeah, I was gonna say his daughter's an actress now.
Yeah, she's one of the leads in The Pit, and he showed up. He plays her dad for an episode.
There you go.
It shows up in his grandpa. I don't even think he has but 2 lines in the whole series in one episode, but he's there, and I'm like, yes, it's Brad Dourif, yes. So, of course, my wife looks at me like I'm an idiot, but who?
Yeah, because you guess how many credits he has as an actor.
Oh, well over 100. I'd say closer to 200.
Yeah, I would say 250.
Sean,
250.
Mr. Ken, what do you think?
210.
Oh, the
Sean.
fucking price is right.
244.
Huh?
How much?
244.
Nice.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
$1. You bitch.
I used to do that at Walmart, going shopping, and I used to say to the cashier, "How much you think that we spent?" And then she goes, "Why?" And I said, "Well," and my mom goes, "It's something stupid he does. I'll buy you a candy bar if you get it right." So they were always off. Just
Corey
something
knows the look I
stupid
got.
to keep your stuff going during shopping.
It's such a tasking experience. I know.
Dude, you go down every aisle.
I'm in frozen foods. I can't go any further.
Oh, on that note, we'll say goodnight for this week, and we'll be back in 2 weeks, which
2
will
weeks.
be on No, that's not right. That's the
Yeah,
wrong calendar.
May.
May 13th, right? No, May 6th. Jesus, May 6th.
Yeah, that
May
sounds
6th,
right.
May 6th.
Yeah. May
the
6th.
day after Cinco de Mayo.
Thanks.
That is the
Be talking
stunning
spicy
insight that we
movies.
expect. That is awesome.
So see you on the day after Cinco de Mayo.
That was great, Kenny.
Thanks.
Thanks, Kenny. And everybody on the replay, thanks for listening. Everybody in the chat, thanks for participating. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Texas. Thank you, Stacy. Everybody else.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye.
Have a good night,
Bye.
everybody.